Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a product manager at LeanLaw, and today I'm going to be providing an update on our Invoice PDF feature. We know how critical invoicing is for a law firm. It's a touchstone of communication with your client to share what work you've completed, what the value of that is, and information about how they can pay you. Over the last few months, as we've rolled out new functionality for the PDF, it's been met with so much enthusiasm and feedback. It's really exciting for us, and we're so thrilled to be working on something that's so important to you. This release is aimed at expanding our functionality to cover more use cases to enable you to have greater customization across different practice areas, different clients, ultimately so that we can help you reduce the manual tasks you have to do after you generate an invoice to alter the output and help you get paid faster. So let's dive in. The first piece of functionality that I'm excited to tell you about today is the invoice description. So this is an open text field that you can enable on any of your templates in the invoice email template settings. I've got it toggled on here, and I can enter something to use as a placeholder, but I'll be able to edit this in draft. So now that I have that toggled on, when I go to billing and drafts and open a client or matters invoice that has that enabled, I'll be able to edit the invoice description here. So this is different from the memo, and it's positioned at near the top of the invoice. So you can use it for an executive summary, for instance, of the work that was done that month. What we're really excited about is how this enables you to create invoices, provide a summary of the work that was done to your clients that can be as bare bones as you like with as few details as you like, and hide all of the underlying line items, fixed fees, time entries, and expenses without hiding the total due or tax. Let's take a look at how that looks. So this is an invoice for a fixed fee client where I've removed all of the activity data fields. The total and the amount due are still correct, and I haven't had to change any of the underlying data, but I've really limited the amount of information that is on this invoice that I'll send to my client. This is what the draft and the actual underlying invoice data is. So I can still access all of this in LeanLaw whenever I need to. I didn't need to delete any time entries or leave anything back from billing. I was able to just send all of this through, but limit the amount of information that my client is actually going to see and have in their possession. We've also enabled you to override your contact information that goes on the invoice from whatever is in QuickBooks. So if you go to Settings, Firm Info, you can enter the information that you want on your invoice, your address, your email address, a phone number to reach you at, and we'll put this on the invoice instead of whatever you have in QuickBooks. We've added some functionality to the invoice activity table itself. You can now toggle on show only expense amounts, and we'll hide the amounts for hours and fixed fees. You'll still be able to see the rate, the number of hours, but we'll hide the amount, except for expenses. You can also toggle on a subtotal by type, and we'll subtotal each section. So for a single matter invoice, that's going to look like a subtotal for services, a subtotal for fixed fees, and another one for expenses if you had all of those on your invoice. For a multi-matter invoice, there will be sections for each of those categories broken out by matter. So services for matter 1, subtotal, services for matter 2, subtotal, etc. To help delineate this, we've automatically added a different title for multi-matter invoices for each section that will look like this: services, name of the matter, expenses, name of the matter. If you only have a single matter invoice, the sections will remain services, expenses, fixed fees. We've also made some changes to the account summary to make it clearer for your clients and cover a broader range of use cases. Looking at this one that I have pulled up, we have a balance forward of $200. That's everything up to and including the day before this invoice was created, so July 30th, that is remaining on this client if it's a client accounting situation, or matter if it's matter accounting, that balance. Then we'll list a payment from retainer or trust, depending on the settings in your invoice template. Additional payments and credits to this invoice, which is just payments outside of the retainer or trust situation, like cash or a card, something like that. Other invoices from this date. And this is where we'll drop any balances of invoices that were created on the same day as this one so that you can get an accurate amount due. New charges, which is this invoice that we're looking at, and then that adds up to our amount due, $315. When we look at the bottom of this invoice, we have the total, which is the new charges, as you see in the account summary, and the amount due. When we have the invoice on, the amount due is going to reflect the full balance for that client as of when this invoice was created. If we disable the account summary, and we'll take a look at that, then the amount due is only going to reflect the total of this invoice without any other balances considered. So for instance, that client, that invoice that we're looking at, without an account summary, there actually is a balance forward, but we're not reflecting that anywhere on the invoice because the account summary has been disabled. The account summary is going to continue to update as you make payments or record payments on either the invoice that you're looking at or the invoices that contribute to the amount due on that invoice. So anything in the balance forward or other invoices from this date. For instance, if I record a payment on this other invoice from 7/31, we'll see that reflected in the account summary of the invoice 1151. So I made that $90 payment on another invoice created on the same day, and it's going to be reflected in the line Other Payments, Credits, and Adjustments to this balance. If I made a payment on the invoice from June, in other words, on the balance forward, it would be reflected in the same line. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it answered your questions. If you have more, please reach out to our support team, either in the chat bubble in product or support@myleanlaw.com. Thanks so much.